Welcome to Lumenverse. If you find comfort and wonder in peaceful stories like this one, kindly consider expressing your appreciation by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And now I invite you to close your eyes and let the story transport you to a realm of tranquility and discovery. The village of Velmir is tucked away between two imposing mountains, where the clouds lazily float through the sky like drowsy sheep, their fluffy forms blending with the soft grayness of the clouds. The village itself is small, composed of several cozy cottages and a tranquil stream. One building stands apart from the rest, its doors always open to weary travelers, no matter the time of year. The Lanternwood Inn. At the edge of a mystical forest, the glow of a cozy inn shines like a beacon in the dark, its many windows illuminated by warm amber light. Hanging from every available surface, lanterns cast their gentle glow across the area. Even on the iciest night, the temperature around the inn feels noticeably warmer, and tantalizing fragrances of freshly baked bread and comforting herbs wafts through the crisp air. And on this tranquil evening, our story commences. The innkeeper, an elderly sorcerer by the name of Aldrin, gracefully tended to the enchanted lanterns that hung around the windows. Unlike ordinary lamps, these fixtures were filled with starlight, collected carefully during the phases of the moon. Aldrin moved effortlessly and deliberately, a testament to the years of practice he had poured into his duties. Each step he took was accompanied by the gentle sway of his long silver beard, accentuated by the faint jingle of keys dangling from the ring at his hip. His faded patchwork robe concealed many stitched-in enchantments, lending both warmth and protection. Kale had arrived at the inn with hands hardened by hard work, boots caked with the remnants of a storm, and stories that remained untold even to himself. Aldrin, observant in his wisdom, hadn't inquired. Instead, he had offered, "Tea is warming by the fire, and a room with a window to the stars awaits. Rest first, stories will present themselves in time." And so Kale stayed. He chopped wood in the morning, assisted in the kitchen, and in the evenings, he immersed himself in the wisdom of the old tomes by the hearth, or found solace in the company of the soft patter of rain against the rooftop was accompanied by the faint glow of bioluminescent moss and the tranquil silence of the surrounding forest. Aldrin, with practiced ease, placed the final lantern onto the porch railing, watching as it came to life with a soft, golden light. Kale approached him, holding a pair of steaming cups of spiced milk fragrant with the warmth of cinnamon bark. "You always light the lanterns at the same time," Kale observed softly. Aldrin replied, "The inn listens, and it informs me when it's time." "You know," muttered Kale, after a moment of quiet contemplation, "I've never remained in one place for such an extended period. I was constantly on the move." Aldrin turned to him, his gaze filled with kindness. "And where are you headed now?" Kale smiled softly. "Nowhere. It's the first time it feels." A gentle breeze blew in the distance, stirring the trees in melodic rhythm. A faint sound of a bell rang out, its soft chime echoing through the tranquil inn. Nira introduced herself as an herbalist who was searching for rare blue thistle that could be found exclusively when it rained. The scent of sage and sweet mint emanated from her hands as she shared her stories with a gentle tone, her laughter mixing with the warmth of the crackling fire. As the night progressed, various travelers sought shelter, an old bard seeking refuge from the rain, a mother and child returning from a distant festival, and even a kind troll carrying hand-carved wooden flutes arrived at the inn's doorstep. Eventually, as the hours slipped away, the guests found their way to their respective rooms, finding solace in the comfort of lavender-scented linens and the whisper of the ancient wood. Kale found himself by the hearth, now alone, a book in his lap, the silver-eyed cat gently cradled in his arms. As the wise old sorcerer Aldrin passed by, he gently draped a warm wool blanket over Kale's shoulders. With a gentle tone, Aldrin said, "It is all right to rest." Kale remained quiet, not contesting the old man's words. A subtle breeze gently swept through the inn, carrying with it the delicate fragrance of night bloom, a rare flower that blossomed only when soft, silvery rain fell from the sky. In some distant room above, the floorboards creaked faintly as a weary traveler shifted in their bed. Kale's eyes grew heavy as he remained seated by the hearth, the book in his lap now forgotten as exhaustion began to take hold. The flickering flames of the fire had reduced to glowing embers, now casting long, lazy shadows that danced gracefully upon the stone floor. The silver-eyed cat, still settled in Kale's lap, emitted a soft, deep purr, its sound akin to the rumbling of distant thunder gently rolling through a vast meadow. Aldrin returned, carrying a small wooden box in his hands. Reverently, he opened the box, revealing several glass orbs, each one no larger than a ripe plum. Within each orb was a mesmerizing display, a swirling tempest, a constellation of stars, or the captivating movement of ocean waves. The interior of the inn shone in tones of gold and warm amber. In every corner, crackling fireplaces added a cozy touch, while the central great tree sparkled with tiny dream moths fluttering gently. The woman at the door, clad in a wide hat and rain-dampened cloak, stood before them, her gaze tired but brimming with warmth. Kale responded with a genuine smile. "We always have a room available." Kale looked up in quiet curiosity, the warmth and comfort of his surroundings keeping any words from leaving his lips. Aldrin, with a thoughtful expression, introduced the small orbs in the wooden box, saying, "These are dream seeds. They are dreams and memories collected throughout the years." He held one up to the soft light of the fire, where a tranquil meadow was depicted. Some of them contain wild dreams, some are old memories, some, he paused, his gaze lingering on the dream seed in his hand, are waiting to find a place to belong. Aldrin explained, "These dream seeds are meant for our guests. They may not recall the dream when they awaken, but they will feel its impact nonetheless." Kale leaned back, surrendering to the warmth of the fire and the enchantment of the moment. The inn was so much more than just a place, it was a sentiment. A place where time was kinder and weary souls found solace. Meanwhile, deep within the realm of dreams, Nira found herself walking through a vast field of blue thistle, the petals softly singing their sweet melodies, as she wandered barefoot beneath the silvery moonlight. In room 9, the mother held her child close under a quilt adorned with ancient runes, dreaming together of lullabies whispered by stars, as the child laughed in their sleep and chased iridescent butterflies made of celestial light. In room 4, the old bard lay sleeping peacefully, finding himself in a long-forgotten tavern where he strummed a melody that caused the chandeliers to dance gently in response. The humble troll found rest in the attic nook, his bulky frame settling beside his bedroll. In his dream, he found himself not in caves or on bridges, but instead in a warm kitchen, baking delicious scones. Kale, feeling a wave of drowsiness wash over him, declared his intention to rest, his voice tinted with the heaviness that comes with weary slumber. With a nod, Aldrin replied, "The stars await." As Kale passed through the common room, he moved with a relaxed pace, his fingers gently grazing the surface of the majestic tree that traversed the inn from floor to ceiling. Although its branches and leaves appeared motionless, a subtle sense of life resided within its bark. At the foot of the stairs, Kale hesitated, turning back to Aldrin. "Do you ever dream?" As Kale surrendered to slumber, he found himself enveloped by a dream so vivid it felt real. He stood in an enigmatic meadow, embraced by a warm, soothing mist. Tiny lanterns floated within the fog, each one flickering like living fireflies, beckoning him to follow. The flickering lights guided his path to a grove where all the guests from the inn had gathered around a majestic oak tree. It pulsated with a radiant golden glow, yet no one spoke, for no words were necessary. There was music, devoid of instruments, and joy was present, yet its origin remained elusive. The morning took its time in gently announcing its presence, with sunlight streaming through the curtains and illuminating the room like a golden liquid. Sweet aromas of fresh-baked apples and the comforting scent of cedarwood filled the air. There on the windowsill was the cat, already slumbering, its tail twitching in repose. Kale began to shift in his bed, his eyelids still heavy, a smile gracing his lips. He couldn't recall the details of the dream, yet something had altered within him. An internal knot had unraveled, and an invisible burden had become lighter. In the common room, Aldrin quietly polished the counter, his humming a melodic harmony like silver wind chimes dancing in the breeze. A moment of silence settled over him, and he intuitively sensed the delicate change in the atmosphere. He peered outside, contemplating the way the sunlight played amidst the trees, gently casting shadows on the pathway just beyond the porch. With a soft whisper, he spoke to the world, as though speaking to the inn itself. One more night of tranquility. One more heart finds soothing comfort. The tranquil village of Hollowin vanished from every map except for one. Tucked away in the rear pages of an ancient, weathered storybook, the location of the village was etched upon a singular hand-drawn scrap, nestled between the towering fog-shrouded hills and the sinuous Silverdrift stream. Tonight, our tale commences in this very place. Mira was a collector of misplaced objects. Whether it was feathers, stones, or even dreams that had ventured too far, She had a knack for finding them. Her flowing locks resembled the misty hues of dawn, and her cloak boasted a celestial pattern, crafted from threads that seemed to mimic the stars themselves. Living in solitude, she inhabited the orchard's edge, surrounded by an abundance of apple trees that whispered softly whenever a gentle breeze passed through. The sky cast a violet hue across the landscape. A rustling sound emanated from the eastern side of the orchard. Mira halted, and the wind itself seemed to still, holding its breath. A flicker of mesmerizing orange appeared before her, resembling a flame without heat. To her astonishment, a glowing fox stood before her, its luminescent fur shimmering like candlelight. A lantern fox, believed to appear only to those who had once been forgotten. Trailing behind the fox was a golden charm, hanging from its tail. Mira paused, captivated as the fox met her gaze once before turning away. Under the soft light of the moon, the orchard took on an otherworldly appearance. The apples that had been red in the daylight now possessed a pale, silvery sheen, as if they had absorbed the glow of the night sky. As Mira followed the glowing fox further, they ventured through the oldest grove of the orchard, a location even she seldom visited. To her surprise, a gate appeared before her, not fashioned from conventional materials but woven from entwined roots and luminescent flowers, softly pulsing with enigmatic energy. As she ventured forth, Mira braced herself, expecting the presence of wind, frigid air, or mystical forces. Instead, an enveloping silence embraced her, akin to a lullaby yet to be sung. In an instant, she found herself in an utterly different place, no longer within the orchard or within the boundaries of Hollowind. Instead, she was surrounded by glowing fruit trees and a still, moonlit pool, occupying the center of the glade. A soft, hushed voice resonated through the tranquility, murmuring, "You have brought forth the light." Mira turned, her heartbeat softly resonating within her chest. Sitting by the tranquil pool was a woman possessing stone eyes, yet not instilling fear. Rather, an ancient wisdom exuded from her very being. The woman's garments seemed woven together from woven bark and stars that cast a faint gleam. Resting gently in her lap was a book bound by shimmering silver threads. The woman introduced herself as the orchard keeper, saying, "This grove remembers every whispered tale beneath its trees." Mira drew closer, inquiring curiously, "Why was I brought here?" Mira delicately opened the book, its pages devoid of written text. Instead, the book's pages were filled with drawings, depicting moments of her life. Scenes such as walking beneath the moonlight with baskets of herbs clutched in her arms, or tying bells onto tree branches during springtime. There were moments of her helping a lost boy find his way home through the mist. Her gaze scanned over the blank pages, and softly she murmured, "Empty." The orchard keeper nodded, unwritten. As the glade began to transform, time shifted like a gentle current. Soft morning sunlight, reminiscent of dreams, filtered through the petals above, and one tree within the grove began to reveal its blossoms, not of red apples or ripe pears, but small, silvery bells. These hung delicately, bearing their own unique sounds, each a moment of respite. The keeper smiled, murmuring, "You have brought balance to this place." Mira observed the gently swaying bells, inquiring, "But what should I do next?" As Mira traversed back through the arch, she discovered that the orchard had transformed subtly, yet visibly. The trees emanated a peaceful and vibrant energy, as some of the apples on the branches glowed faintly with a gentle illumination, while birds perched peacefully, undisturbed by her passing beneath them. The lantern-tailed fox remained by the arch, its gaze fixed on her, its purpose fulfilled. She returned to her modest cottage and lit her small lantern, placing the silver-bound book beside it, the pages still blank, yet waiting. As the setting sun painted the forest with honey-gold hues, Kale stood by the mysterious woman named Solenia near the hollow tree. A gentle breeze danced through the leaves, carrying the delightful scent of lilacs mingling with the earthy scent of pine. The forest itself seemed to resonate with a subtle, expectant hum. Solenia placed her hand against the bark of the tree and shared, "This very tree was once the heartbeat of an entire forest." Curiosity piqued, Kale inquired, "What became of that mighty forest?" A bittersweet smile played upon her lips, tinged with a sense of melancholy. Time and forgetfulness have taken their toll on the forest, but some aspects persist, waiting for recollection. As Solenia gently placed her hand against the bark, a faint blue light flickered beneath her touch. The tree reacted, responding to her contact. The bark of the tree, resembling aged scrolls, gracefully unfolded, revealing a spiral staircase carved within the heartwood, extending deep into the earth. Kale gasped, astonished at what he beheld. We're descending into that staircase? With each measured step they took, the air within the spiraling staircase grew progressively colder. Moss clung in patches along the walls, and delicate mushrooms, emitting a faint glow reminiscent of distant stars, bathed the space in a gentle light. The silence was profound, but it was not devoid of life. Instead, it carried with it the weight of untold stories, ancient chronicles that whispered of bygone eras. As they descended further into the depths, Kale and Solenia arrived at the bottom of the staircase, finding themselves in a vast domed cavern illuminated by a magical pool glistening beneath a light without perceptible origins. As if entranced, Kale stared into the shimmering water, the surface rippling and transforming, displaying images of a younger version of himself standing alone amidst a storm. He witnessed the moment his blade grew heavy under the onslaught of rain, and he was reminded of the heartbreaking loss of his father. Then an unexpected sight appeared, a memory he didn't recall. In his hand, a glimmering silver feather, accompanied by a soothing voice whispering words of wisdom. His eyes widened with surprise, and he turned to Solenia, asking in astonishment, that memory was real? Kale sat down beside the mysterious woman, his mind still whirling with the images he had witnessed. Her words echoed in his ears, speaking of a path meant specifically for him, but also of companionship along the journey. A moment of silence settled between them, and he watched the lilies drifting on the water's surface. A subtle change occurred within him, and the once tightly coiled emotions inside began to loosen, releasing feelings of hope and anticipation. Eventually, Solenia stood, beckoning him gently. There is one more gift the grove has to offer you. As they emerged into a picturesque clearing, bathed in the soft glow of the moon, an ancient archway greeted them, its branches woven from shimmering silver. As Kale stepped closer, something shifted, and through the arch he caught a glimpse of a world unlike anything he had ever seen. Mountains crafted from crystal, with floating islands suspended in the sky, and cities that merged seamlessly with the natural surroundings. Solenia's voice, barely a whisper, echoed around them. This is the path through the Lumen. It will lead you to realms beyond your familiar boundaries. Solenia's words hung heavily in the air as she explained. I cannot join you on this journey. However, know that you will always carry the essence of this place with you. The grove will never forget its champion. With a deep breath, Kale stepped through the shimmering archway, feeling the embrace of his surroundings as a warm cloak enveloped him, accompanied by the melodic whispers of chimes carried on the wind. The stars above glimmered with an ethereal brilliance, almost as if they whispered a secret language to him. As Kale crossed the threshold, the very fabric of the world altered subtly. The air became gentle and crisp, carrying the subtle fragrance of morning rain combined with the delicate scent of nocturnal blossoms. The ground beneath him felt tender and comforting, each step causing a gentle pulsing sensation beneath his feet, as if the very earth recognized his presence. His gaze was drawn to a path of shimmering starlight and delicate silver dust that extended into the distance, while his senses were captivated by a forest of glass-like trees. The wood's branches chimed softly with each whisper of the wind, creating a mellifluous symphony. He slowed to a halt, his hand instinctively resting on the hilt of his blade. A profound change had taken hold. The burdensome weight of the past, the ever-present ache of loss and conflict, seemed somehow diminished, their whispers now hushed. As he cast his gaze ahead, a figure materialized from the forest, distinct from Solenia. The woman who emerged wore garments of soothing green and calm gray, her armor embellished with luminous runes that cast a gentle glow upon the surroundings. Her silken hair resembled the frosty dew on morning grass, and at her side floated a diminutive sphere of soft illumination. Kale dipped his head slightly, not quite certain of the right etiquette, and introduced himself. I am Kale, a seeker who followed the call of the grove. Mira smiled gently and revealed her title. I am Mira, the warden of the Lumen Path, presiding over the delicate balance between the real and the possible. As the tiny orb glided towards him, gently orbiting around him, Kale couldn't help but find amusement in its curiosity. Quite the curious little companion you have there, he remarked playfully. Mira chuckled softly and affirmed, she seems to have taken a liking to you. That's not something she does often. Kale's gaze wandered, taking in the unfamiliar surroundings, and he posed a question. Are we still in the same world? Mira responded with a shake of her head, revealing the truth. No, we are in the between, a realm where the profoundest realms of the heart are brought to fruition. Here, the stories of the past find new life. Kale protested, averting his gaze reluctantly. I don't want to witness this. Mira, however, responded with a gentle insistence. You must. This path does not obliterate what you have experienced. It simply enables you to bear it with a different perspective. As the memory dissolved into a radiant glow, the small orb approached Kale once more, its soft blue glow conveying a sense of reassurance and comfort. Mira moved to his side and offered, There is a location not far from here where echoes converge. It might hold the answers to the dreams you presently find enigmatic. As they meandered through the realm, the scenery morphed into a mesmerizing spectacle. Illuminated pasture lands teeming with radiant beings resembling hummingbirds, traversing shimmering bridges of ivy above streams that glistened like a twinkling night sky. They set up their camp under a silver willow tree, adorned with glowing fireflies resembling a captivated audience. Kale took a sip of the soothing tea, crafted from the petals of the moonflower, and inquired, Did Solenia ever stroll this path? Mira responded, her voice carrying a subtle wisdom. Years ago she too was lost, much like yourself. He quietly examined the soothing tea for a moment, as the steam danced and formed ephemeral stars before disappearing into the night air. He voiced his uncertainty. I don't know what I'm supposed to become. Mira's gentle reassurance came. You needn't pressure yourself. Simply keep walking, and the path will find you. That same night, as sleep consumed him, he envisioned the hollow tree again. Its roots embraced the earth like tender tendrils, spreading across the landscapes. Solenia's visage appeared, gathering stars into her palm, and the lumen path silently kept watch over him.